And on to video 2, part 2 of explaining, that recently, or just yesterday, a client who I relied on from time to time, they were pretty reliable and consistent in the past, but they pulled a fast one. I knew that they were capable of not being cool all the time, or cool is a very loose word, of not being professional, but it's like, well, did they lie about needing to go away? But point being, I wanted to say they are reminiscent, they are part of a larger gang stalking network, a larger harassment network. They might be part of a group of people who actually thinks they're taking over the world. It's really immature. They might, they just happen to have money. So they might actually believe that. Or it's possible, and I thought about this, their money could be fake-ish. It's hard to explain what I've witnessed as a dog walker. And I've witnessed that people live in different capacities. So the building or the edifice or the home they live in might appear one way, but once you're in there, something's like, is this a show? Is this like a fake house? It can feel that way. You can kind of tell if you're in a home, like, this seems normal. You can sit down, it's hard to explain what I mean, but most people have like a couch, a living room-ish or comfortable area where maybe they crash and catch up on the news or whatever they do. I know a lot of people do other things besides watch TV, but I'm just saying, something's off. But in 2011, something began, and I can't believe that there are people out there who think that it was okay to do this. I wake up every day wondering how these people got away with what they started. I think of all the people who've participated from, the higher-ish socioeconomic backgrounds to, regular folk. I expect some people to just, it's hard to explain. Like, some things you can explain away at street level is just riffraff. But we have people who should be better behaved based on what they project to the world. I don't know what to say about these people. It's really embarrassing. It's almost laughable that they are that sad and pathetic as a people. And, every day I wake up worrying. I have a certain amount of money, but I need to keep making money. I am someone who works hard. I'm someone who has hustled for work for a long time. I was also trapped in dog walking, which dog walking was on the side. And then because of a weird situation at a different job that I had, I was like, maybe I'll do it more full time and try to keep going. And I think all of it is part of a design, if you will. I actually buy that some people are part of someone's design. There are desperate people who desperately need to feel in control. It would be like, kind of like these clients who, made it seem like they canceled, basically, but they made it seem like they never heard from me. I'm like, are you kidding? I've sent 3 texts. They all went through, I know it, because it shows on my end that they've been read. It's almost like they're drug addicts, but they're so desperate. Anyway, it makes me worry because it's like I have to keep hustling for work. I should be working in a different capacity. I walk around with this camera for protection and to keep going, so I can't just sit all the time. I'm by myself up here in Philadelphia. And I thought about, I've reported activity to police, the CIA, and the FBI. And depending on who's involved, I've even gone so far as to report to other agencies. And I would like my money back. I would like all the rent that I paid while living at 66 South 19th Street, while I was terrorized all those years. I want all of that money back because I shouldn't have had to pay to live there while being terrorized. Technically, the first night is worth $5 million at least. The pain and suffering, mental anguish, death threats, harassment, orchestrated harassment, stalking, swarming, leaving objects in front of my windows and door, setting up scenarios and skits, shows, trying to design stuff around me to either provoke or just make me feel incredibly uncomfortable. All of this actually goes on, ladies and gentlemen. I would move again. I lived in Gainesville for 2.5 years. It was okay-ish. I still had to earn a living. I didn't have parents who had the capacity to completely harbor me or safeguard me, if you will. So I noticed over time that activity kind of, it's different than in Philadelphia. And I wondered, because I read about this online, I wondered if networks of people, like family rings, can be activated wherever you go. So say someone catches word, say I'm in Philadelphia, and eventually it gets around like, oh, she's living with her mom and aunt now. Especially with social media, it's very easy to figure out where someone is. And it might not look the same, but activity can be activated again. I have never done anything to anyone. I've tried to go through the whole thing of what would have caused people to decide to do this. Now, in the case of these past clients, who I blocked their numbers and everything of, they, there's nothing other than a desperate need to control, hurt. I don't know if they gain energy by hurting someone. I even thought of that. But I wondered, like many years ago as a writer, I talked to a mentor, and she's like, keeping a blog, this is back in the days of Blogger, when Blogger was new. Keeping a blog or maintaining a blog is a good thing for your career because it could lead to other writing gigs, whether it be articles, columns. Some people get, from where I'm from, lower level contracts or book gigs. You could even get a gig. You could even get an advance for, like, say, a nonfiction book. You write proposals. There's a lot of work involved. So I kept a blog, and she said, write what you know about. And I know about being a child of divorce, and that's something that, has affected my life greatly. And I'm wondering if it's a factor in whatever they unleashed in 2011. Anyway, so I kept a blog. In that, I never used any names of anyone I knew, family, friends. I changed any names. I didn't really talk that much about such folks, but I would bring up like issues surrounding, say divorce or what have you, and I never used anyone's names. It's a little bit early, so the lights aren't on today, or yet. Sometimes they're on all night long, I think, but sometimes they switch out the ads. So anyway, so my blog was very professional. I'm actually a trained writer, and I think about people and all that other stuff and making sure no one feels. But it's also a thing where not everybody has the same type of training or education. Like, people are trained in other vocations, or